Hello there, and as usual, I'm Aaron from Laststandgamers, and welcome. So today we're returning to the original server. Now, between the Mad Max server going live and me getting a little bit ill that I'm still recovering from, we really haven't covered this server too much. So we're going to go around this place, have a look at some of the outposts, see how they've expanded, as well as have a look at some of the new creations on this server. So we're actually at the EPS outpost, the guys that seem to support Ricardo in many ways. So as we enter in through the facility, you can see they've got a whole new access way. So previously it was only this pad area here before. I'll turn my light on so you can see around a little bit better. They've still got their amazing briefing room down there through that window, but we've seen that before. They've got themselves a nice welder room over this side and access to their cryo storage with a nice little bit of a wood accent. So over this side you can see that they've got themselves the welder pit where they're currently pulling a ship out of it, and you can see that there is a whole variety of different connection points as well as alternative hangars up at the top. Now this is where they've gone really quite mad. So over in this section they've expanded their production system and color coded it so it's easy to see what's going wrong. Down here they've got themselves two of these sort of medium sized ships ready to fight, as well as a grinder pit. Up here they've got themselves these really cool looking fighters that are tucked away in this hangar with a nice purple light above. We've got three little hangars tucked up there that seem to be a little bit incomplete. You can see that they've been dug out but not finished quite yet. So if we continue through this massive hangar, you can see just how much work and time they've put into it. Probably each member has their own hangar, I'm not too sure. So you can see, yeah, there we go. He's got his own hangar and his penthouse up there at the top with a little table. You can see he's got himself, is that like a little ammunition locker, some bedroom, some supplies, as well as a seating area and a pole in the centre for some exotic dancing. But he's got a really nice ship in this section. Of course, he's got the lower area, it says work in progress, and he's also got himself a little welder ship in that section. So let's continue having a look along. Of course, we've got someone else's hangar here with one of these incompleted ships that looks like it's fallen off a connector, and we've got a few more hangars here. This faction was quite large at the peak, so there is a lot of different things going on and a lot of semi-constructed things that may have run out of power as different members have popped on and off on this server. One of the big things about this particular server, the original one, is a lot of players had to pick. They didn't have enough time to play on both servers, so some had to leave the original server behind to live on the Mad Max one, and vice versa, so to say. Anyway, let's head to some more of the outposts. So now that we've headed up into space, we're actually having a look at another one of EPS's projects. Now this is one of their large stations, as you can see. It's definitely one of theirs. They've got themselves a thruster with a Thanos fist on and Ricardo there in the background, and you can see they've got this cool outer space type outpost that could also be maneuvered vice versa. You can see they've got loads of little pods going on here. It still looks like there is some completion going on through here. You've got different sort of quarters of different players, apartments, so people can rent out different areas. A really cool idea for a station as we go through here, as well as it being really nicely laid out through engineering and whatnot. And since EPS was so large, like I said, is they needed a lot of different places to expand to, and expanding to space is probably one of the best ideas. With all the players online on the planet, it can cause significant performance issues. You can see there's a whole other sector getting worked on over here, as well as the command center up here. That is, of course, filled with McDonald's, pictures of Sonic the Hedgehog, and Starbucks, but a Ricardo rebrand of it. Very fun indeed. So if we just have a little glance up here, we can see that there's another smaller outpost up here as well. So a lot of these are taking semi-shape. This one's got a massive solar cell going on along across it and relying on hydrogen thrust. Some really cool creations, and it's nice to see the factions are getting out to space. Anyway, let's continue on to some more outposts and ships. So as we continue out into deeper and deeper space, you can see more and more players have made it out here. So you can see we've got this beautiful black and red fighter in camouflage that looks like it's still under construction, as well as this ship right here that's got two hangars on either sides of the bay. So you can see we've got Hangar Bay tucked in the side there. We've also got this really large sort of solar panel power pack, you could say, to do a little bit of charging for these ships and its battery cells. So let's just tuck in here and we'll have a quick look around the interior. So there's still a lot to be completed on this ship by the look of it, but it's still quite well completed. We've got a few parts missing here and there. We've got the majority of the hydrogen tanks and the batteries, as well as possibly jump drives installed in here. Let's just have a quick fly between the decks and see what we've got here. So the majority of the systems have been applied to this ship, and it should be ready to go with a few more alterations. It looks quite mean, should put up quite a nice fight, but I really do like these little solar cubes that they put around. They look like they can be manoeuvred, attached to different ships to give them a quick boost of charge. So let's just head ourselves over here. So we've actually got ourselves another little outpost here in space, and this one has gone absolutely mental with the amount of welders that they can put on an item. So you can see they can print off whole battle carriers to a degree. They've got welders, they've got printers, they've got grinders and various other towers laid out across this platform, and a few defense structures as well. Let's just pop inside. I believe this construction of this is more functional over aesthetics, but you can see that we've got the control seat in there. We've also got this control pad area that's been docked. The use of that blue glass there just looks really cool with them solar panels, I have to say. There's also a few smaller fighters docked in here. We've got like a massive triangular wedge, very scary looking, super cool stations we're seeing out in space. We didn't see too much at the beginning when it came to space stuff, but now people are expanding out. It's getting more and more intense out here. So we're back down on the planet where we've got another massive shuttle taking place. Now, a lot of the players really want to get off the planet for the pure reason it is far safer being out there in space. So this particular player is building up his structure. You can see he's got himself this really cool shaft-driven drill that's mining away down here. You can see the shape of that as it's connected up there, and it's just creating a little bit of a drill path, I believe. And I believe he adds onto that. Maybe the pistons come out at the front. It seems to be suspended at the current moment in time within the voxels, unless it's lost power. No, it's been turned off, Aaron, you silly thing. So it looks like we've got another drill platform that's been attached to this block here at the top, and it looks like he's doing some welding, maybe moving some supplies around. A lot of really functional vessels here. This one's got grinders and welders attached to the bottom. Looks like we've also got some thrusters there, a little bit of propulsion. Well, we've got super bit of propulsion on the back, but I'm guessing that's going to be used to hold some of the turbines in place. So let's just have a little bit further look up this shaft. So he's got a hell of a load of hydrogen thrusters. This is a serious big boy rocket. I think this guy wants to take everything with him into space. We've got a lot of exposed components here on the side, not too many weapons. We've got this massive hangar bay. Inside the hangar bay, it looks like we've already got some ships pre-docked and prepared for space. We've got welders going on here. We've got some smaller ships. This player is preparing to live out in the space, and before he goes there, it looks like he's almost building an ark, you could say. Can't wait to see when this one's going to be finished. But let's continue having a look around. Oh, let's have a quick look at the bridge, actually, before we go down. So the bridge still needs a little bit of work by the look of it, but this is the completed ship here on his blueprint. Very nice indeed. You can see we've got that sort of cockpit end. That is going to look awesome as it's cruising around through the stars. Hopefully a few more weapon systems are added to it so it can be a little bit safer, and it's prepped and aimed up at one of the asteroid fields up there. So anyway, let's continue to our next craft or station or base. So we've headed back into the stars to have a look at another one of the space outposts. So this particular one has gone by the name of the Mothership, but you never really know when people are naming grids in this game, if that's the final name or something's gone a little bit crazy. But they've built this really cool shuttle-like craft that looks like it's capable of both re-entry and travelling back and forth between the planets. That's pretty damn cool. It's connected up by a piston. That can be a little bit worrying. And this place seems to be some sort of larger base type outpost.
Energy critical.
Now, originally I thought it was a base. When we have a look at it back here, it looks like some thrusters are under construction. We've also got themselves in here a variety of welders there to aid in the construction of other smaller ships like this one up here. That looks like it's some sort of cargo carrier by the amount of cargo containers on it. They've also been hard at work and working on various other little ships. You can see all the batteries charged there. We've got the hangar bays of this larger ship tucked in here, and we've also got, if we just rotate our camera around, this half-constructed sort of docking pad with this sort of freighter or maybe control tower here at the front. So this is going to be another one of them things. If it gets completed, it's going to be quite an interesting thing for us to take a look at. Anyway, let's continue back to another station or outpost. So we're now heading to the next outpost. Now here in front of us is what's left of the How outpost. Now How didn't get defeated on this server. They had a few attacks against them. but they decided that they wanted to leave for the Mad Max world. And as that happened, they decided to colour their blocks in this abandoned, mossy colour, and this is what's left of their outpost. There's a few printers, the whole food supermarket place has been destroyed within an offline raid. You can see that this whole area got ripped apart. This really upset them, and before we had the shield mod, they had a whole outpost in here that you remember being shown before. Anyway, if we continue down here, you can still see we have some remainments of their old base. We actually have the grinder pit down there. We've got surprisingly 1 or 2 ships that are pretty much still operational. It's amazing to see these guys haven't been raided or used, but the platforms are pretty derelict. The control tower up here is almost in one piece. It's got a few areas cut out of it, but it's just a really cool abandoned facility now. As you work your way through the various different corridors and different places, there's still a facility here. It just feels like it's rusted or broken away. This just makes a great place to explore, really, for any new character or person on the server. That is if the safe zone is taken down. That I guess it will degrade over time. Anyway, let's continue having a look at some of the other outposts. Hopefully not many of the other factions have ended up like this. So we're going to take a look at this last outpost. Now, something I've noticed is a lot of players really enjoy building underground. It offers a lot of security and it keeps their creations rather safe from various attacks, as well as being spotted. So this particular outpost looks like it's been scrapped to a certain degree. Elements have been cut off. Things have been slightly shut down. The main elements of it are still here, though. You can see that we've got ourselves this blast door type assembly room here. Everything's processing still going on quite well. We've got another hangar through here. So there's a lot that can be either rebuilt or the players can repurpose this to continue this outpost's expansion. But I've got a feeling the owners of this outpost have left this behind, maybe to venture off into space. So anyway, I'd like to thank you guys for watching. We are continuing to work on our servers, and I will say yes, the Mad Max server has had a bit of an impact on the amount of players playing on this one. Mad Max thing's interesting. People are going to flock to new and crazy ideas. But I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.